So here's our lesson for time, introducing the half hour. So in that book, you kind of just heard about how the half hour works. Now we're going to try to move it on to our math page, which you can follow along in your math lesson, module 7, lesson 10. So you're on page 270. If we look at this first number, actually, let's jump up here first. So right here, you guys have already solved full o'clock or to the hour times before, and that's pretty much the extent of it. So we know that if we look at the little hand first, we know that it's pointing at the 2, and if we look at the big hand, it's pointing at the 12. We know from telling time on the clock that the 12 always says o'clock. So we read the little hand first, just like we did in the story. The little hand always comes first, and then the big hand. Little, big. So we first read the little hand's number first. Little hand is on the 2. The big hand is on the 12. So I put them together and I say 2 o'clock. Now if we look at the second one, we see that the little hand isn't on a number. It's in between. It's in between the 2 and the 3. So we know that we don't have the big hand on the 12, so it's not an o'clock. So we see which hour we're in first, just like we read in the story. So it's not to the 3 yet, which means that we're in the 2 o'clock hour still. Since we're in the 2 o'clock hour and we're not to the 3, we don't say 3. We don't just guess. We say, okay, we haven't reached the 3 yet, so we have to still be at 2. If I count by 5s, this is 0 because it's our o'clock. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's what we're practicing now. The big hand is our minutes counter, and when it ends on the 6, if we count by 5s, we don't say 2 6, we say 2 30, because we know to count by 5s, if we count all the way down to the 6, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, I counted 6 times, that's 30 minutes. So to read this time, I would look here, it's not to the 3 yet, so we're still in the 2 o'clock hour. It's 2:30. Now, if we look at letter A, we just solved that one. So you can write 2 for your answer. What they're looking for all 3 of these is for you to put the hour that it's in. So you're looking at the little hand. It says 2 o'clock. The reason why it says half past is because the 30 is half of 60. So we know that 60 minutes is in a full hour. The hour is whenever we reach the 12. Whenever we reach the 12, we say o'clock. But if we were just counting by minutes and we counted all the way by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, I say, what's half of 60? If I go half of 60 is 30. The reason why they say half past is because it's halfway on the clock. See how I split the clock in 2 parts? So that makes a half. So they say half past 2 o'clock. This big minutes hand is halfway on the clock. Because it starts here, it traveled halfway around the clock. Half past 2. If I look here, I've got this little minutes hand. It's between the 4 and the 5. I look at it and I say, well, has it reached the 5 yet? Not yet. It's still in the 4 o'clock hour. Since we're working on half past, the 6 is our halfway point. which is 30 minutes. So we're half past, here's that 4, we're half past 4 o'clock.